Welcome in the final major of the year, the Open Championship at Royal Portrush. It goes by so swiftly. So over the next hour, myself, Johnson Wagner, Brendon Young, Taylor Zarzour, we'll talk about the major championship season that it has been, and we will dig in on Royal Portrush and why already. Just returning to the Open Rota, it has carved out such a space with the affection and the love for fans and players alike. And Rory and Scheffler and Rahm, and we go through the field as well. Your Open Championship preview for Royal Portrush starts now.
When your hands are consistent, your game can go anywhere. Align Max, our newest raised ridge technology designed to keep you and your game locked in on every shot. Only from Golf Pride. Respect the grip.
And with that, welcome in the last major of the year, our Open Championship preview. Brendon Young, Johnson Wagner, Taylor Zarzour. Gentlemen, I can't believe it's over. It's over, man. It's over.
I know, and you don't like this.
No, I do not.
You don't like it.
No, I'm really in a bad place on all of this.
The condensed major championship
Not digging
season.
it. I'm over it. I'm over the PGA.
It's a long wait until we get back to the Masters next year.
I just, let's start right there. I was completely in support of the PGA going to May. I was. I'm now over it.
You are?
Yeah, I think it's too abrupt. Think about this. 3 of the 4 majors are over before summer actually starts. Does that seem right?
No, it doesn't.
That's why I asked it as a rhetorical question.
Yeah, no, it doesn't seem right. I don't like the fact that this is the last one. I don't like the Open being the last one, but I do like the PGA in May.
You do.
So I'm kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
I like it. It just goes so fast. I mean, once the players hits, and then Augusta, it's like boom, snap your fingers, and here we are. It's July, and if we feel like that, think about what these top players feel like. I think it really condenses their schedule down. Like Rory going from the Masters to the PGA, he had 0 time to breathe, and so I like the setup, but that's my only issue is how fast it goes and how tough it is to prepare.
It's a larger conversation, probably. I do think there is great demand for the tournament in Memphis and for the BMW Championship. I don't think that anyone that watches those tournaments cares if they're playoff tournaments or not. Mm-hmm. I think that when all this started, we thought the playoffs were going to be some major thing that really moved the needle as much as the majors did. I don't know that they do, and I do think that everything's on the table in the future. And if everything's on the table in the future, then maybe the PGA does go back to August if there are no playoffs, if there's just a Tour Championship after the PGA. But I'm with Brendon. I do like the PGA Championship in May.
I just, to what you said, whether it's Rory, which was obviously a particularly unique circumstance of him completing the career Grand Slam, the abrupt turn to the next. It's like there's no time for all of us to let it sink in. The player himself, I don't know. I was in complete support of this, and now I feel like it seems so abrupt that it's now over. Mm-hmm. And we go to August, and it's like we kind of shrug. Look, the PGA of America wanted this. The PGA Tour wanted the players back in March. The cadence of delivery, it does make sense. From March to July, we feel like we've got this massive event in each month. And by the way, the PGA of America, starting in 27 with their championship being there, the PGA ain't going to be in August, is it?
Not at Frisco. No.
I'm sorry, I will not be there.
Ooh,
for that.
That's rough. Temperatures will be high.
But what if Brian Rolapp rolls in and buys a major? I think that should be his number one priority, myself.
You think they're
I think he should buy the PGA Championship.
I've heard that time and time again. I just don't see the PGA of America letting that happen.
For $1 billion? What's that SSG money doing sitting around?
How much of that billion is going to go to the PGA of America?
Some of it. Look, like you said, we could talk about this for a long time.
It's going to be fascinating to see how this all shakes out in the next few years. And Rolap has a remarkable track record of growing audience for the National Football League, and I think that that's his main objective for the PGA Tour. Now, having said all of that, back to our Open Championship preview, I do think that there is a great audience for the Open.
Absolutely.
And especially since it's the last one, I think it's even increased the amount of interest.
Yeah, I think that's true. All right, the major championship season, if you could describe it in a sentence, a half of a paragraph, how would you describe what we've seen for 3 majors?
I would say it's been brilliant. I think it's been an unbelievably good major championship season. I mean, you look at obviously Rory completing the Grand Slam, then you get Scottie with turned out into somewhat of a runaway win at the PGA. Your 2 best players winning the first 2 majors of the year, world number 1 and 2. We had it all set up for Oakmont, and then at Oakmont you had this tournament where who knew who was going to win with 5-6 holes to go. Leaderboard kept changing. I think it's been a fantastic major championship season.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say it's been memorable. And just to add to the way J.J. Spaun was, 5 over through 6 holes on Sunday and came back to win the golf tournament. I thought that was incredible. Plus, Rory on the mountaintop and then gets really weird with the media at both the PGA and at Oakmont. It's like there was the highs and lows that we've experienced with him alone has been pretty incredible.
Yeah.
It's exactly what golf has needed. You know, we needed a shot in the arm in 2025, and you get the 2 biggest names on the PGA Tour winning the first 2 major championships. The big story with Rory completing the career Grand Slam, the number 1 player in the world winning here in Charlotte. And the other thing that all of us inside golf people love is when someone comes out of nowhere and wins a major championship, when just one of the guys out on tour comes out and wins. And we got that at the U.S. Open with J.J. Spaun in the hardest major championship of the year. So I think it's exactly what golf is needed. You've got the stars, and you've got someone you didn't expect emerging and winning a major.
Yeah, look, Rory is in this, I don't know how it cannot be the story of the year at the end of the year, no matter who wins this last major of the year. Scheffler winning the way that he won was quintessential Scottie, that he just waited for everybody else to just kind of wilt to a degree, and he stayed as sturdy and as steady as he always is. The Spaun win, to me, makes me smile. One in particular because of the way it was punctuated. Because if you see that now we've got the visual of Dan Hicks and Kevin Kisner calling it, and then on the radio side you have Amelia doing a great job. Like if he 2-putts and he kind of wraps it in, it's still a great story. But he makes that bomb.
Yep.
And that made it different.
It
and
did.
You win it, but he won it the way that he won it. And I think Oakmont proved that Oakmont, like I'm thinking, what if it doesn't rain? What would have won that? What would have won it?
+5.
+5, I would have gone north of that.
Yeah, at best.
Oakmont won. And like all these guys, and even Scheffler, like I swear with 4 to go, I'm like, oh my God, he's going to post. He's going to get 2 over, and everyone's going to have to look at him. Thought Oakmont delivered what Oakmont is supposed to deliver. Like us believing that it is going to just literally throw one more punch and everyone's going to be on the campus at the end, and the Oakmont membership goes, we win again. So I think it's been great so far. All right, so here we get to this last major at a place that it took generations for it to return to, and then they couldn't get back there fast enough. Why has the RNA fallen in love with Portrush to the degree that it has?
I'm getting chills all over me. I'm thinking about being there 6 years ago and being on the 18th green and watching Shane Lowry from the Republic of Ireland in Northern Ireland win the Open. And if you are familiar with the history of that island and the troubles that they have had for over 50 years, to see how sports can bring people together, the way that it brought everyone together. It was truly one of the most powerful things I've ever seen in golf. The embrace that Tommy Fleetwood had with Shane Lowry on that green, the embrace that Shane Lowry had with Bo Martin, his caddy at the time, the bar that we all went to afterwards to celebrate that victory. It was one of the most powerful things I've ever seen in sports. And the way that everyone reacted to it, they had to come back, Gary. They crushed it last time. I can't wait to hear what Johnson and Brendon say about being there this time and just the amount of passion that, I know it's Northern Ireland, but the Irish people have for golf and for their community. I think that it'll be in the rota for many years to come.
That's beautifully said. And my mom's family, my mom's grandmother was the first to come over, and we found cousins over there, Roscommon area, and she expressed similarly to the way that you just did about what it felt like as somebody who is a product of that nation, whether it's Northern Ireland or the Republic of Ireland. But that's the point.
Yeah.
Because of the strife and the conflict, in this sense of feeling unified, there was something incredibly deep and warm about that. You guys being there now, what are you looking forward to the most?
Yeah, in doing my research, I've never been to Ireland before, but in doing my research, I've watched a lot of videos, rewatched the whole 19 Open Championship, and what strikes me about Portrush is the dramatic elevation change. Reminds me a little bit of a Birkdale that you said you love so much with the tall dunes. Some of these tee shots, the elevation change, it's pretty unique to links golf from my experience, that you don't get that kind of topography. Also, the false fronts and the roll-offs and just the sheer drama around these greens. And I think it was rebuilt back in the 1920s by Harry Colt, I believe. And so you had kind of the tail end of the golden age of architecture do the work on this property. And so it's got that drama that St. Andrews doesn't have with the land movement. So I'm looking forward to getting there and seeing for my own eyes, if it's really that dramatic that I feel like it comes across on TV.
I'm looking forward to drinking some Guinness with the Irish people. I mean, I absolutely love the Irish.
We're going to go thirsty, my friend.
Yeah, I will go over very thirsty. Yeah, I mean, to Taylor's point, they are the most passionate people in the world, the Irish people. There's so much fun to be around. I'm looking forward to watching them, and hopefully one of their own gets in contention again. I want to be a part of that.
That village is so quaint, and it's hard to get in there, the northernmost point of Northern Ireland. But once you're in there, you are in there with all of those people in those pubs and at that golf course. And that's great observation by you and your research that you've done. You really will notice the elevation change there. It is. It's certainly in all the Opens I've gone to, it does feel different there. A harder walk, kind of like Augusta National is at Portrush.
I was in Portrush when I told my parents that I was going to marry my wife. We'd been dating for 4 months. My parents thought I was insane. That we were staying at the Bushmills Inn right there, and we're at dinner, and I had already locked the keys in the car. I'd forgotten my passport.
Oh, God.
My parents thought, what is happening to you? And so that place has a special place in my heart because, and that was 4 months in. We got engaged 2 months later. We've been married 28 years in October. So I love that place for that reason. But the golf course, to your point about how dramatic it is, and similarly, you're also going to play Royal County Down. You could say that those 2 golf courses, in terms of what you get to experience, they will stand up against any 2 golf courses in the world.
You could pick them as the 2 best.
You could.
And everybody would be okay with
They'd
that.
go, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Handicapping this championship, is it the hardest major to handicap?
Without a doubt. Obviously, the elements, you don't know how the elements are going to pan out. And then you've got this tee times that starts at sunup and it goes the entire day. You can go through 5 or 6 different weather changes as you go through a day of tee time. So yeah, without a doubt, the hardest.
And I would say rub of the green, a little bit of luck matters more in this event than any other. I mean, with the rough that you generally have if it's been a wet summer, like you can get lies where you can play it and you can get lies where you can't find it. So I think there's just a little bit of element of luck that's involved with handicapping too.
And to your question, Scottie Scheffler, before the Open last year at Troon, I asked him this exact question that you just asked all of us, and he said yes, because of just some of the quirks and the bounces. And I don't know that it's frustration, but you could sense that Scottie feels like he doesn't have as big of an advantage here in this Open than he does in all of the other tournaments he plays because of all of that. And I think that when the conditions and just some of the bounces you get in links golf, it neutralizes somebody's strength a little bit. If you just simply find every fairway and find every green, well, it's not necessarily going to finish on the correct side of the fairway or the green like Scottie is so used to.
It's so true. The vagaries are more pronounced. But that, I think, like if we were going to have one little Nicklaus nugget in this Open Championship preview, I know he didn't win as many as others. He won 3. But the fact that this guy was outside the top 10 once,
unreal.
From 63 to 80, and it's not like they didn't experience weather. They did, but yet he dealt with waves and draws and all that stuff and still managed to nose his way into contention literally every single year. So with that, with Scheffler being the jumping off point, is he your favorite?
I think so.
By a smaller margin than the other 3?
For sure. But
Okay.
but yes, he's definitely my favorite. I mean, he's the number 1 player in the world. He's on good form. I think I'm excited to see what he does at the Scottish Open, and I think he's going to sort of warm up to Linkskov. And you mentioned Nicklaus. Nicklaus had such a great record because of his mental toughness, and that's one of Scottie's greatest attributes. And I think maybe he hasn't applied that in years past, but I think going forward, I think he's going to have to be the toughest mentally to win one of these Open championships.
Yeah. Are you feeling Scheffler as he's going to be in the mix?
Yeah, I think Scottie's favorite anytime he tees it up for that reason, that he always finds a way, and his mental toughness, as you say, there is second to none. He always finds a way, regardless of how he plays, to be there at the end. He's the guy is an absolute genius at finding a way.
So it's the most modest record of the majors with respect to him. He has 4 starts. Last year, tied for 7th. I thought, as they made their way kind of around the turn, I kind of did it over, like, here he comes.
The 3 of us were doing radio last year in the Troon Hotel. We had a great spot, and all 3 of us.
Of course you did. None of you had a bad spot.
All 3 of us looked at each other like, how did he get here? He's not even playing his best, and he's still finishing in the top 10. I do agree with them. If you give me anyone to pick, I'd pick him, but due to these 5 clubs rules that you've employed, I only think I can pick him once or twice more. I would favor him back in the United States in the playoffs more than I would at the Open.
Do you not like rules? Is that?
I mean, no. I'm just saying that might be the reason why I don't pick him this week.
By the way, Gil Hanse, since he used his allotment on Scheffler, has missed like 9 of 11 cuts.
Oh, no.
He doesn't know how to function without picking
Is
Scheffler.
Brendon out of the basement?
Nope.
No, he's not.
Nope.
No, that's how bad he's been. I think, and I was going to ask you guys this on our Golf Channel show about Scheffler. Is there anything that he's done this year that, no, he hadn't won as much yet, there's still a lot of tournaments he's going to play in, that has impressed you more than anything he did last year?
I would just say the fact that
it stands out.
The fact that he's continuing to be the best player in the world is what's impressed me most. I mean, he's validating.
Like, it's not close.
Right. He's validating that he is truly one of the greatest golfers of all time. I know he's not even 30 yet, but you're starting to think, okay, where does this guy measure up all time with what he has done in the last 4 years? I mean, we're going on 4 years of dominating the game. And to the question you just asked, every week when Scottie Scheffler's teed it up in the last 4 years, the conversation starts with him. And the fact that that is still going on in 2025 is what impresses me most.
What stands out about Scheffler 25?
Well, he's taken what was a supposed weakness and made it a strength. The guy's a top 15 putting right now. I mean, it's unbelievable the way the transformation in just a short time.
And what
That's significant. I mean, I think it was 162 2 years ago, 70-something last year, and now he's top 20?
It's a lethal combo, and I think what impresses me most is because of that. Last year, he had a couple big comeback wins at the Players' Championship and the Olympics.
Yes.
This year, his wins have been dominating.
Yeah.
Like the way he won the CJ Cup, Byron Nelson, the way he won the PGA, Muirfield, Memorial. He is winning by wide margins, which is not something he's done in the past.
Yeah.
And you've talked a lot. He's become a true closer right now, and I think it's because of the consistency with that putter.
I'd already believed this about him, but I think he has validated it this year in terms of, like, when you look at athletes, and as somebody who's covered every sport, there are certain athletes that stand out, like they don't take a day off. Like the idea of playing broke. Like every day is a referendum on who you are. And I don't feel good, but damn it, nobody is going to outwork me. Nobody's going to outscore me. This year, if you look at the majors, think about the last 9 holes at Augusta National. He was kind of hanging around, and he was far from his best. And obviously, he wins the PGA. And then at Oakmont, as we talked about, like here he is, and you're going, oh my God, is he going to become the clubhouse leader? And then the most recent start he had at the Travelers, he starts the weekend, as one of the 36-hole leaders. He made a triple, a double, and a bogey on his opening 9. He shot 39. And you're going, okay, look, he's gassed. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. He's gonna finish 27th. He shot 2 under on the back that day. Like, he went 39-33. And then the next day, he figures out a way to finish his tie for 6. I admire the hell out of a guy who plays broke every day. There are no days off. That you are going to get my best, and I am going to be relentless about how I compete every single shot. That is such an admirable quality. I love that in him.
Well, I know that you have an army of people that work here that repurpose all of these comments.
Army.
We should repurpose the comments you just made there, because that's spot on. And you talked about other athletes and other sports. I mean, Kobe Bryant played basketball that way. Jimmy Johnson was in NASCAR. That's the way he drove. He drove to have the best finish he could have every single time he went out there. Tom Brady played football that way. There are a number of guys that are great players in their respective sports, but they're a lot more emotional, and you worry about their demeanor and just how they're feeling and what they're saying. You never think about that with Scottie Scheffler.
You don't, like Djokovic, right? He's plays broke. Like, come on, man, you ain't got it.
Yeah.
And he did. By the way, Lieutenant Kevin over there is speaking loudly, part of the small army here at 5 clubs. All right, let's get to Rory. You said it on the Golf Channel show. Hey, man, I don't know.
I really don't. I don't know what to expect, given the way that just all the things that have bothered him the last couple of months, and just how frustrated he seems and angry with the golf space. And I just don't know why he cares that much about those things. He shouldn't. What he should care about is that he had the greatest moment of his professional career. He completed the career Grand Slam. He gave all of us one of the most special moments we've ever had in sports. I'll never forget being right next to Johnson in this tiny little booth and just the sea of people around us, and watching one of the greatest athletes we've ever seen accomplish this, and think, this is so special. We're so privileged to be here. I'm still thinking about that. For the life of me, I don't know why he isn't.
Yeah.
Or at least not talking about it as much. Instead, talking about just stupid little things that don't matter. Like, I hope he's moved on from all of that, and he's concentrating on playing the Open close to his home where everybody is pulling for him. And I hope that he has a lot of joy as he plays in the Open.
There's nothing better than a great Tirico call with a Johnson Wagner giggle overlaid in it.
I think it was a cry.
It was a cry.
Was it a crying giggle?
It was a
very rare thing.
There were definite tears.
Yeah. It was awesome.
That's awesome.
That's what made it even more special.
No question. Do you get the feeling that because of 19 and the way that he fought that second day, and then also this weird summer that he's had, that there hasn't been as much joy. There's been this consternation about, the media and speaking or not speaking or whatever. That can be, that he can clear the mechanism, that he can be a factor.
I do. I don't think he's going to be a factor. I know he's going to be a factor.
You do?
I do. And we talked right after the Masters for our PGA Championship preview about we expected Rory to come back out and play with like the youthful exuberance that he used to play with when he first started winning majors in 2011 through 14. And I still believe that Rory McIlroy is in there. I think this is going to be one of the biggest majors he plays in his career, and I think he's going to come guns blazing.
I think Rory now, this is the first true reset that he's actually been able to have, like since Augusta happened, where he's had a couple of weeks, and those closest to him can now say, Rory, come on, you've won, you've had your crowning achievement, go out there and play golf like you can. And I'm with Johnson. I have no doubt that he's going to contend at Portrush.
But the only thing that concerns me is all the swing changes he made in the offseason that helped him hit the wedges a little flatter with better spin. The driver, like Brendon did the ball change. Brendon did a breakdown of his driver swing at the U.S. Open, and it was reverted back to old habits. So hopefully he's taken this time and he's working at it again, because if he's not working at his golf swing, then who knows what's going to show up. But I think hopefully he has done that work, put that time in, because this event has to mean more to him than any other tournament he's maybe going to play the rest of his life.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, look, they're going to go back there, and he's going to be in his early 40s, and it doesn't mean that he can't be a factor. But he knows in terms of
This is a
threading
shot.
this needle,
Absolutely.
this is it.
Well, and he's talked about motivation and what else is going to fill his bucket. To your point, I mean, this has to be near the top of the list. I think winning a gold medal, winning another Ryder Cup on American soil, I'm sure those are big bucket list items. There are probably a few others that probably he would mark and say that would be important. An Old Course Open victory, I'm sure, would be on there. But Portrush, yeah, no, nothing will trump what he did at the Masters. That'll be the story of the year in 2025. But a close second could be Rory winning the Open at Portrush.
Yeah, it would be certainly right up there. Again, wins the Masters, tied for 47th at the PGA. U.S. Open, he had a great final round, so he sneaks in there, tied for 9th. The Travelers thing, again, you can make of it what you want. I think that maybe he was sensing, kind of turning a corner. I also think this, and this is the challenge, whether it's covering guys like you or any other sport, we don't know his state of mind.
Yeah.
I'd like to believe that getting comfortable in a home that they've spent a lot of time, putting together in London and being over there and feeling like that can be part of the reset as well. And this week begins it. This is a fortnight for him. So if I said to you, more likely top 10 or outside the top 10, what would you say?
Oh, definitely inside the
Inside.
top 10. Oh, 100%.
Way inside for you,
100%.
right?
Yep.
Top 10?
Yeah, how about you?
Same.
Yeah.
Same. I think he factors.
Yeah.
I absolutely do. All right, you go back to the 19 Open, and Shane wins Fleetwood, Finau third, and then you had Koepka and Westwood tied for 4th. And then at 6, it was Fowler, Hatton, McIntyre, Willett. Hatton and McIntyre coming off these U.S. Opens. Give me somebody that you have a feeling about. Not a dark horse, somebody that can be, high-profile player that you have a really good feeling is going to have a hell of a week.
Well, off of that list, I mean, and I know you're asking just in general,
Yes.
but Tyrrell Hatton,
Yeah.
it continues to be someone that is showing up in major championships and is one of the best players in the game. Despite going to live, we've looked at a couple of guys and said, well, they don't play the same once they've gone to live. Hatton has been just as good, if not better, in DP World Tour events and in major championships since making that move. So I'd expect him to be there. Fleetwood, too. I'd be surprised if we don't see Tommy around it now.
How ironic would it be if he got his first tour win and it's a major and it's not in this country?
Right. The noise is only going to get louder the longer this goes on without him winning, and it'll be very loud at the Open if he's around that leaderboard, and I do wonder how he handles that. But I love the game that he's shown us so far in 2025.
The Fleetwood thing, look, Keegan deserves all the credit. I thought Tommy really, he blinked. He just did. And I thought it got particularly fast. I could not believe how quickly he played his shots around the green. It was almost like, I want to get this over. And again, it's just an observation. In 19, he was right there. And he never really made anything happen. So, look, Shane won. He didn't lose. You think Fleetwood is in the mix?
Yes, but when you go back to 19, starting that Sunday, Shane was in danger of making double on one, and Fleetwood stuffed it. And Fleetwood misses, Shane makes, and it's just a one-shot swing as opposed to potentially 3. And that happened the first 6 holes. Tommy Fleetwood could not make the putts when he needed to before Shane really started making birdies. And we talked about this last night. I really struggle thinking somebody can win a major championship when they are that inconsistent and poor with the putter on a Sunday.
Yeah.
I mean, my favorite thing when I was in contention, I'd love to see a guy with a claw grip. Please. I know he's not going to be a factor today. I mean,
I walked with Tommy and Keegan that final day at Travelers, and you could just see that he was getting more and more timid with the putter. It was getting more and more negative, and he didn't make the putts when he needed to. If he makes that straight up the hill 6-footer on 14, that tournament's done. Didn't knock it in. But back to your original question, I think Shane Lowry's going to be a big part of this again.
You do?
Yeah. I think Shane Lowry is the equivalent of Keegan Bradley, where he feeds off the crowds.
Different strengths, but same makeup.
Yeah, same makeup. Feeds off that kind of emotion. So where he's playing another home major, I know he's Irish and this is Northern Ireland, but we've talked about these countries together. I think Shane Lowry's going to be a big part of it.
So you mentioned Liv as far as Hatton. A lot of LIV guys made the jaunt from their Texas event to go to final qualifying, 3 of the 4 medalists. And look, here's the thing. They should be the medalists. They're by far the most accomplished players of the guys who were in those final qualifying. But as I say that, I also give them credit. Look, they made the point, they went over there. They got a lot of guys in this field. LIV has had guys who have not just flashed, like legitimately contended in majors. Do you have a LIV guy that you were most bullish on?
Hatton is my guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Koepka for me.
Koepka for you.
Yeah, Ricky Elliott growing up caddying and playing at Royal Portrush. I know
and he was right there.
He was, and there was a moment when they embraced on 18 on Sunday in 2019, and Brooks whispered, "Sorry, I couldn't win it for you this week." And I think what we saw out of him at the U.S. Open, we saw that fire get lit again under Brooks Koepka. And
flat weekend, but yeah.
But we all know how quickly. I don't think there's a player in the game that can go from not caring about golf to winning major championships as quickly as Brooks Koepka can. He's going to factor.
Hope JB Holmes isn't paired with him. I watched that and walked with them the first few holes. I've never seen a player that more agitated with someone else's pace of play than that day, the final round at Portrush.
Well, JB shot 87.
It was brutal. It was brutal.
That really was extraordinary to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, it really felt like he was punking him. Like, I'm going to deliberately make an 8 just to see if your head will
Brooks
explode.
wanted to fight him.
Is your
Who's
LIV guy
LIV
Neiman?
I can't go with Neiman this time. I've used him 5 times already.
Let me say this about Joaquin Neiman. He had a good PGA. His weekend at the U.S. Open, come on, man.
Yeah, that was
better than that.
You got to be better than that.
You're one of the best players in the world.
Yes, he is. I still think he's one of the best players in the world.
Is.
And he
But
did
the days
whip
are
Jordan
over.
Spieth at the PGA.
But now we're evaluating your majors, and it's not just because somebody said you're one of the 5 best players in the world. That guy also said Scottie Scheffler was not going to win before the Ryder Cup.
Yeah.
So he's not great at the hot takery.
Yeah.
I thought his weekend at the U.S. Open was lame. Truly lame.
It was weak.
Who's your LIV guy?
I've got Hatton as well.
You do?
Yeah.
How can nobody say Jon Rahm?
Well, I might have Jon Rahm somewhere later in the
Okay, so might I.
Probably as a dark horse. Knowing Brendon's dark horse picks, Jon Rahm certainly
They're
fits that
world class.
mold.
They're World Golf Hall of Fame members, and they're in their late 20s.
Exactly.
Go down the
Okay,
world
so
rankings.
so the Rahm thing is for when you're going to say something really.
Yeah, later.
But you're also the guy in last place by a
Yes.
wide margin. So now I feel really bad about my pick.
Who's your LIV guy?
Well, he's the guy that he's going to save for later. I think Koepka is an interesting study because, look, he's abundantly aware of how precious these 4 weeks are. He values them like everybody does, but he's been so good at them. At 35, sand in the hourglass, and he was right there. And I'm thinking, like, what he did at the U.S. Open at Pebble that year, it's like he's like, this guy might win 8 because he was, like, so built for it. I certainly think him. I'm with you on the Hatton thing. There's no reason to think, based on the week that he had in 19, his ability to step out of the LIV environment and contend at these other places as well. So yeah, I think those are them. And then I'll just save Rahm for a little bit later on. How do we evaluate DeChambeau? Again, no record.
Yeah.
One top 10.
This seems to be the event that neutralizes his strengths more than any other event does. So there's just nothing that I've seen in the past that would make me believe he has a genuine chance to win. I still think he's one of the
Lukewarm at best.
Yeah, I think he's one of the 5 to 10 best players in the world, but not here.
Well, you look at his one top 10, and that came back in 22 at St. Andrews, and that is about the only Open Championship venue I can see him playing well at, just because of the wide fairways. He hits it too high, he sprays it too much. I do not see him being a factor. He's my guy I see as a top player to miss the cut because of the fact that he can't physically. His longest iron's a 5-iron. Now I know it's really like a 3-iron loft, but he hits it to the moon.
Yeah.
So when you get those into the wind conditions and you just need a bullet iron just to get it in play, he does not have that shot.
I hope Johnson does something on the 7th hole at Portrush because it feels like it's 800 yards. It's straight uphill, par 5, almost 600 yards, and it's almost always into the wind. That's the prevailing wind there. And to your point, that's the exact thing I thought of when you just talked about Bryson hitting shots into the wind. He can't hit those low, flighted shots, and I think at least he can't hit them to the point that everybody else can, that's contending to win.
So let's say he misses the cut. and now he has no more opportunities to get Ryder Cup points, and so he would be theoretically slipping. He's on the team, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Comfortably, he's on the team, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For all the reasons that Johnson just talked about.
Oh, yeah.
Beth Page, he's perfect. Beth Page, yeah.
No, he is, and it's a TV show, and not that the Ryder Cup needs certain things. I'm with you. Like if he falls to 7th or 8th or whatever, he's going to be on the team. I feel like the other part of it is the idea of the cleansing. That there's this sense that they're I don't know that they love him, but they're cool with him.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I think
while
that's
the
right.
P. Reed thing.
They're much cooler with Bryson than P. Reed.
100%.
Yeah. Not when I say cool, I mean that relatively speaking. Like he's not one of the fellas.
No,
he's not.
He'll be eating.
Can we stop the P. Reed thing like cold? He's not going to be on the Ryder Cup.
There's no way he's going to be on the Ryder Cup.
Zero chance.
Unless he were to win the Open and he'd make it on points, he is not going to get picked to be on that.
Yeah, he's not going to get picked, right?
If he's 7, does he get picked?
No.
No, I don't think so
No,
either.
you're not getting
I don't think
I just wanted to see you.
And it's not, if everybody out there is going, how can you use, it's not a question whether you think he should. Now, I don't think he should. It's a question of whether he will or he won't. He will not be on the team.
I think that
He will not be on the team.
I think the people that are making those choices do not want him on the team.
Exactly.
And I don't think they want to pick him. I don't think they're pulling for him either for the same reasons. But yeah, I mean, if he has a chance to win the Open, then we might have to have this conversation again. But I don't think they want to pick him.
Yeah. Let me ask you about the two guys who want to play together on the Ryder Cup team. One's going to be on the team. The other needs to show more than he's done, even though there have been moments of encouragement as Spieth and Thomas. Let me start with Jordan Spieth, who would draw his first WD from an event as a member of the PGA Tour, the Travelers. It was the neck thing. It was not the wrist. He says he's absolutely, he's good to go for the Open. He's won this. One of the most just insane experiences we've all seen in 2017 when he won. I thought he fried his hard pan like that 30 minutes on that 13th hole when he won it. What do you think about Spieth? Do you think that this
Careful. Careful.
So you start with Johnson here?
No. He has built a case.
Yeah.
He's got a whole book of reasons.
Spieth's chances?
Yes.
0.
Zero.
Absolute 0.
You're going Blutarski?
Absolute 0. Not
0.0.
enough consistency there for me. Not enough consistency, not even close.
Okay.
Yeah, the driver has been better this year, but it let him down at Oakmont. I think Portrush is tight, and I think at some point when he gets in contention, he's going to spray some shots, and I think it's going to bite him. I could see him finishing top 10, but more likely, making the cut and being an also ran.
Okay.
Yeah, I do like him more in this than I do in the others for the exact opposite reasons. Because the bounces, he seems to embrace all of that.
Yeah.
But I still worry about that guy trusting what he's doing, that he can repeat the same swing, especially on approach, time after time after time. He wants to be one of the best golfers in the world. I think he's committed to being that.
Painfully wants to be.
Absolutely. I think it's very hard to watch a guy down the street from him that lives in the same community as him be the guy he wants to be. But I think that repeating that swing time and time again, trusting it, still asking a lot of questions to his caddy about before he pulls the trigger, that makes me nervous to pick him to
And he's going to
contend.
be coming in a month off.
Yeah.
Month off, no chance.
Yeah. It's hard to jump in with 2 feet.
I hope
know
we're-
that
I
you
hope we're
wanna-
wrong.
You want to swan dive into a full Spieth symposium.
How much fun would that be?
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
There's nothing. It's one of the great viewing experiences you can have, and especially there.
Yeah, it'd be great.
It would be great. Explain to me Justin Thomas's major championship performances.
It's hard to. It's been weird. I mean, missed the cut at the PGA at a place where he won. Missed the cut at Oakmont as
Yes.
well. I think the best was what?
T36.
T36 at Augusta, yeah.
Where he has no record.
Yeah, I'm very surprised. I thought Justin Thomas, after he won there at
Had a
RBC,
wonderful year.
I thought we were going to see him really contend in those majors.
He makes too many big numbers. It's kind of like Spieth. He's erratic, and he usually doesn't put 4 good rounds together.
Bad starts.
And so I think that's what happens in major championships when your misses are magnified. I think he just has too many wild shots in the bag.
Yeah, look, he emotes. He gets, I think he redlines maybe at the beginning of events. I don't know how you explain these confounding starts. Like he puts himself in such peril immediately.
Yeah, and I mean the pair of 76s he shot at Oakmont, and then the next week he has a genuine chance to win again. You know, the Masters he's no factor, and then the next week he wins at Harbour Town. So it doesn't last. He's able to dust
No, even the
himself off.
players.
Yeah.
Like from day 1 to day 2.
But to the point Johnson just made, especially off the tee, if this guy puts himself in the fairway, he might hoop it from the middle of the fairway. But he is missing, when he misses fairways, big numbers come into play.
He's putting better this year.
Yeah, he
and
is.
I think that's been the biggest thing,
Yeah.
which has allowed him to look like he is having a nice season. He's, 5th, 6th in FedEx Cup? I mean, he's going to be on the top 6 of the Ryder Cup team. I just, like, the putter's been a big factor. But when you have the biggest events, you cannot have those wild shots consistently.
Especially at Portrush.
You would think he doesn't have a top 10 in this major. And you would think that his imagination, his creativity, his ability to change flights and heights would lend itself to him embracing this style of golf, but it is not translated at all.
Some of the coolest shots I think I've seen him hit were when he won the Players' Championship off 18, being able to hit that bullet hook. I think when you play links golf, though, and you've got that 5-foot-tall fescue grass down the sides of fairways, it's hard to let yourself start it out over that stuff and bring it back.
Fair.
So maybe if he can get that sort of mindset where it's going to come back, because you can lose balls left and right. I mean, at these venues, if you're not just hitting straight bullets.
So for him this week, not feeling.
No, I think he'll make the cut. I think he'll have his best major finish of the year. What you said, 36 was his best. I think he'll be inside of that. But I don't think he's going to be a big factor.
Okay, so who's the American outside of Scheffler that you are most confident in?
Morikawa
with Billy Foster.
That's right.
We were talking about it last night on our radio show. Billy Foster, I don't personally think this is going to last very long, but Brendon made the point of, like, you couldn't have a better guy for 2 weeks than Billy Foster.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think
It's a good vacation. He's a good mate for a couple of weeks.
Yes, they're not going to have a whole lot
Kind
of
of
things
like
to
going to
talk
Orleans,
about.
48 hours and get the hell out.
Oh my gosh, if you could pick anybody to loop for you over there for a couple of weeks, it'd be him. But to Johnson's point, I mean, Colin likes to ask a ton of questions, and Billy might throw the bag at him.
Yeah.
I mean, because Billy's not interested in your questions.
But you think an engagement could work with these two? Like 2 weeks, you're not.
That's not my American guy.
Okay.
That would not be the next guy. I would still say it's Xander Schauffele.
Really?
You know, after last year, what he did, and then we've seen him come on as the year has continued. And, you know, he always seems to play well in the Genesis Scottish Open, so I know we're doing this before the Scottish Open is over with. So I do want to see some good form from him at the Renaissance Club in North Berwick this week. But, I'll be bullish on Xander again.
Okay, I'll give you a
good major championship player.
I am so disappointed in you, and so is everybody in the state of Georgia that Russell Henley was not the first thing. Why wouldn't Russell Henley contend? No, I'm dead serious. He's my guy.
Yeah.
I think that Russell Henley.
I'll give you one reason.
Yeah.
I've been a little nervous about the putter the last couple of months, and especially inside 10 feet. But I love Russell Henley, and you know I love.
I know he was
Seems
fifth.
like a good fit off
last
the tee.
year.
Yeah.
He to me is which is the classic Russell Henley way to elevate himself in the game. He's done it stealthily, like he doesn't seek attention, doesn't want attention. He's going to be on the Ryder Cup team. He's probably going to be tethered to Scheffler for a couple of sessions. I think Russell Henley's in a different space in terms of who he believes he is, and in the biggest events. So I think that Russell Henley's equipped to have a really good week. Coming off his best performance in this championship a year ago.
I don't disagree with you, but I'll take the guy that's won some majors and been a factor. Yeah.
Okay, give me somebody. When I was growing up like you guys, you'd turn this on at 3 o'clock in the morning and go, who the hell is that guy?
Yeah.
Why is he 2 back and I need you to disappear immediately? You know, like you would do that on a Thursday, like who's this guy? Now we cover it, so it's hard to find a guy you've never heard of. Give me somebody that most people don't know much about him, but Brendon fancies him.
Yeah, Marco Penge.
There we go.
I like this guy. I like this guy a lot. I said earlier that Marco Pena was going to find a way to play his way into the Ryder Cup team. He's going to have to get going a little bit, but I think Marco Pena is going to be a factor.
During the U.S. Open, I think you gave him 5 shout-outs every time.
Did you really?
I might have.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it when you get on a guy and then you just can't get off of him. All right, so that's going to be used as some type of gift for me or something.
I love it when you get on a guy and just can't get off of him. I bet you do, Gary.
There we go.
Mercy. All right, who's your guy?
That I just can't get off of? Does Akshay Bhatia count?
Oh, for crying out loud.
People know who he is.
Rasmus Niergaard Peterson.
Okay.
He's been playing some good golf
Yes, he
both in
has.
Europe and in the U.S. I really like his style. I think he's going to play well at the Scottish this week.
Yeah, what about Denmark? Denmark is they're on a heater, and this guy, he played golf in America, and it like the U.S. Open thing. You're going, hey, nice story. Now go finish 50th. No, he didn't. He had a really good week. All right, who's your guy?
This is going to be a self-serving pick because he was.
Oh, here we go.
He was a.
He is a host of his own show.
No. He was a freshman at Huntingdon College when I was a senior. Transferred to NC State. He just qualified for his first Open championship at 44, maybe 45. Justin Walters.
All right.
Is my guy, and I'm super proud of him as an old teammate of mine. Many 25 years ago.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So
pretty
no
cool that
Lucas Glover shine.
Well, people have heard of Lucas Glover.
No, I know.
He's a
but I
major
figured-
champion.
Yeah, people have heard of 5 top 10s this year. People know who Lucas Glover is.
Yes, they do. And since he keeps giving hot takes left and right,
Yes, he does.
He is as valuable a voice as there is. Let me give you some numbers on Harry Hall. This is staggering what this guy's done. Okay. The 6 straight top 25s, okay, you can yawn at that. Nobody's made more birdies than Harry Hall on the PGA Tour this year.
Brendon used to lead that category.
Okay, he's 3rd in birdie average. Okay? He's 4th in bounce back. He's 9th in scoring average, and if you did the actual scoring average, he's 2nd on the PGA Tour. You know, by the way, some guys who are in front of him in the adjusted scoring average have played far less rounds than Harry Hall. I'm telling you, he's
Julie,
11th in strokes gained total.
Julie, we can't go to dinner yet. I'm doing a deep dive on Harry
Yes, I
Hall.
am. He's 1st in birdies are better on par 4s. Harry Hall is having one of the great statistical years that nobody knows anything about.
Where is he in the FedEx Cup?
He's down there a little bit.
Okay.
He just top 25.
That didn't make the list.
Harry Hall, okay, just telling you, when he finishes 19th,
What's his weakness?
he's not a great putter. Okay? So who exactly are great putters that are going to be contending here? Tommy Fleetwood, is he a great putter?
Fair. Colin Morikawa.
Not a great putter
I'm
at
making your point.
all.
Corey
My
Connors.
point is that
Can we get Brendon to wear Harry Hall's hat?
that would not go well. It would not fit. What I'm saying is that if Harry Hall finishes 18th, you'll all be going, hey, nice.
Yeah, when I see him on the leaderboard, I'm going to be saying, go away.
We won't have a chance.
Why?
I've got my
Why?
reasons.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
oh,
all
he's
personal
not your
reasons.
cup of tea, so to speak.
Interesting.
Yeah, he took a local caddy that was a friend of mine in Raleigh on the Corn Ferry Tour and had like 25 clubs in the bag. And my buddy Jim asked him if he could take a couple out for the back 9 in the practice round, and Harry said no, and you're also fired.
You never know what you're going to get on a major championship preview. I mentioned this guy's stats, and he takes it deep on how he wronged one of your guys. That's why nothing beats our major championship previews. That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Wow, no wonder you were not dazzled by anything. You were like, okay, what's his weakness? Well, having too many clubs in the bag, apparently. Okay, so let's get down to it. Give me 3 names that you are most certain are going to be in the mix here.
Ooh. You're starting with me?
Yes.
Scottie Scheffler
Yep,
would be number 1.
yep.
Tyrrell Hatton
All right.
would be number 2. And number 3 will be Xander Schauffele.
Okay. So I assume your winner is among these 3 guys.
It is.
Okay.
Scheffler, McIlroy, Rahm.
Okay. That's star-studded.
I'm going to say Scheffler, Morikawa, Corey Connors.
Okay. I'm going to say Scheffler, Rahm, Hovland. Let me tell you something about Victor. One, I think we all find him to be wildly delightful and entertaining. I thought his attitude at Oakmont was so great. Like, he's like, yeah, this is hard as hell. This is hard as hell, but you know what? It's equally as fun. And I thought that he competed his ass off. And I think that as much as he may say, I hit like 2 good shots all day, I think part of that is just the way that he is. He's searching for something that is not attainable, which is perfection. I think Victor Hovland, who was right there in 22, and you know, it was his first like big grand moment in a major. It was a flat Sunday, but since then, if you think about Oak Hill, and you think about a couple other weeks, including Oakmont, where he was right there, I think Hovland's going to factor in this thing big time. I really do. All right, who wins? Who wins?
Can I say first, because we didn't do a sleeper pick, did we?
No, well, kind of
the guy you hadn't heard of.
Yeah.
Last year,
give me a dark horse.
Well, I just want to say this. Last year, I picked Ricky Fowler to win the U.S. Open. I went out on a limb, or 2 years ago, I guess it was now.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to do that this year, and my guy was Ryan Fox. But I can't pull the trigger. I can't do it.
Now that he's a 2-time winner, or just you can't do it because why?
Because I have to pick somebody that is one of the top players in the game in order to win the Open.
Oh, okay, but I thought you were going to do a dark horse.
Yeah, no, dark horse is Ryan Fox, yes.
It is.
But
okay.
I wanted to pick
a 2-time winner on the PGA Tour, dark horse.
Well,
Ryan Fox.
Outside the top 10 is what I think.
2-time winner this season.
Yes.
Right. Yes.
Yes, not 2 times like over 20 years.
Yes.
2 times in about 2 months.
I'm picking Xander Schauffele to go back to back.
Wow.
Yeah. How about that?
Wow.
I'm not.
You're picking Jon Rahm.
I am picking Jon
You
Rahm.
are.
I am picking
Hell
Jon
of a
Rahm.
pick. Now I feel awful about my pick.
No,
this
is where I turn it around. Jump on the Brendon bandwagon.
I'm going with my dark horse. You just talked me into it. I was going to pick Scheffler, but I'm going with Corey Connors.
Let's go.
I think Corey Connors, he's had 1 top 10 in an Open Championship. He's trending. The way he strikes the ball, bullets, draws, plays great in the wind.
Putter.
Not a great putter.
No.
But clearly you don't have to be.
No, you do not.
And so I just think his ball striking, he's going to be there. And Corey Connors, I think we're going to have number 1 and 2 win majors, and then a couple guys that you never would have thought. So I'm going out on a limb. Thank you for giving me the confidence.
There you
Corey
go.
Connors.
I like it. If I was going to give you a dark horse, I would say Aaron Rai. Aaron Rai has won the Scottish, and he also finished 4th in the Scottish again last year. Again, it's not the same, but it's similar enough. Played well a couple of years ago. I think, here's the other thing about Aaron Rai that I just have this, I'll figure out a way to mention his name when I can. When we were in Dublin, Ohio to do the show from the Memorial a couple of days, who's checking into the Hampton Inn that we're staying in? Aaron Rai, of course he was. The man with the iron club covers and 2 gloves. The guy is just the most modest dude ever.
He's modest, but he
is a good player.
He's a good player, and this is the spot where the 2 gloves make sense.
Yes, it does.
But he also does his homework. I bet you he has notes similar to Johnson's notes to do television. I mean, that's the kind of research he does. I know I've told the story a bunch of times, but you know, in a practice round at Riviera, walked with him while we watched Tiger Woods play in a pro-am. I've never seen another player on tour walk with another group and I said, "Why are you here?" And he said, "Why wouldn't I be here? I'm watching Tiger Woods play Riviera."
I love the guy.
He does his homework.
I'll also add the name Jordan Smith. Jordan Smith is 13th in the European Ryder Cup standings. Finished 2nd at the BMW International. Kind of guy, again, you wake up on a Saturday morning and go, who's that in 4th? Jordan Smith, not Jordan Spieth. All right, so you pick Corey Connors. I think Rahm. If you look at John's last 4 majors, 7th at the Open last year, 14th, 8th, and 7th, he's back. He is back to almost, you know, and if he wins this, you know what that means? That he has now got 1 major to complete the career Grand Slam night. Like Jordan Spieth, it'll be the PGA for him to complete the cycle.
He's got a very good Open record as well.
Excellent
very
open
good
record.
And the way he played Sunday at the PGA Championship, I mean, I know we'd say he finished 8th. Like his finish, he was pressing to try to.
He had as good a chance as anybody.
He basically finished second in that tournament, in my opinion.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Yeah, he took very aggressive lines those last few holes on the Green Mile when he knew there was something.
Hard 14 and 15. All of a sudden, he's feeling that the guy behind him's not going to par 14 and 15. That 8th was, I mean, he was. Like, I thought he had as good a chance as anybody. Like, I think he is ready to do it again, and I feel as confident as him as I would anybody else.
It is interesting how quiet things are about Schauffele, but I still,
I'm with you.
I still think he's, right now, one of the 5 best players in the game.
The one guy we didn't mention, we had this conversation on the show earlier in the week because he was on the show, is Keegan Bradley. Is Keegan Bradley somebody who, you know, before the Open Championship was in the top 10 in points? What if he's 12th when it's time to make the picks? And we haven't mentioned him at all. Like, you're not feeling that bullish about him in the Open.
I'm not in the Open, but I do feel good about him going into the Ryder Cup. Yeah.
So he's going to be on the team, and if he's 12th in points.
I don't care about that. I care about the fact that if he's still ranked one of the 10, if he's ranked in the top 10 in the world, how are you going to leave him off of the team? You know, if his Ryder Cup points aren't as impressive as his world ranking, then I'm going with his world ranking.
Look, I don't care much about any of the data.
Yeah.
This is not an all-star game. He's constructing a team.
Yeah.
And the team is who's best equipped to go into that cauldron and come out with that small little cup.
Well, that even makes me feel stronger about his chances.
Okay. Same thing for you?
Yeah.
Even if he's slipping in the points, as we sit here middle of July, he's picking himself, right?
There's no way in the world that you can name 12 Americans that are more equipped to deal with the pressures
I think that's
of a Ryder
expertly said. You agree?
I'm going to leave it right there with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you get on a plane and try to behave yourself on that flight.
Well, I mean, I got to sleep somehow.
Doing these, and we'll do a Ryder Cup preview. Doing these is fun as hell.
It really is.
And the viewers appreciate you guys coming in here and sharing your thoughts, because it gets people, look, it's the final major of the year. It gets people even more lathered up than they would be already for this. Thank you, as always, for the time.
Thank you.
And thank you, most importantly, for the time and watching this Open Championship preview. Enjoy it all.